Welcome back to the Deepfake Dialogues. Today I'm sharing a conversation with Melissa Sims, a registered nurse from Florida whose life was upended when her ex-boyfriend used an AI-generated text message to have her arrested for violating a no-contact order. Melissa is now advocating for Melissa's Law, which would mandate metadata verification of digital evidence before arrest and create penalties for AI fabricated evidence, safeguards that simply do not exist yet. Let's dive in. Hi, Melissa. Thank you so much for joining me to share your story. Let's get right into it.
With me.
Thanks. So walk me through November 2024. What happened that resulted in you being arrested by the police the first time?
So the first time, that was my boyfriend and I were trying to reconcile. I had previously had a restraining order against him and against better judgment, tried to reconcile. And then I discovered this just isn't the right thing to do. He wasn't living with me, but he was staying over. I changed the locks. So the day before I was arrested, changed the locks to my condo. And he lied to police and said he lived there and had nowhere else to go. They told me they would arrest me if I did not open the door and let him in. I did not want to be arrested, so I did. Later that night, we got into a verbal argument, which ended with him throwing me down to the ground. Called the police. Again, they came out and he said he had nowhere to go. This was my condo. I'm the only person on the lease and I'm the only one paying rent. They told me they would take me to the women's shelter and I said no. So what happened was they told me to go to my bedroom, told my ex to go into my office, which is the second bedroom, and to sleep there. All of my personal and financial and business documents are in my office. So I had sent him a text, do not go through my stuff. And the next day he was supposed to leave. He left. I left to do errands. I came back. My office was ransacked. I went in there. I see that he had just started rifling through everything. And the next thing I see is a backpack with my financial documents in there. I call the police. So I call 911 here and tell them that he's stealing from me. And then all of a sudden he's slapping himself in the face. And I said, oh my gosh, he's going crazy. He's slapping himself in the face. I run out of the condo. Police come. Next thing I know, he's lifting up his shirt. So I'm 5'4". He's 6'4". He's a good foot taller than I am. And he lifts his shirt up and there are perfect scratches on his neck, under his chest, his torso, nothing showing defensive marks. I get arrested. I even say, take my DNA, take my DNA. They're like, nope, he has marks on him. I was led away in handcuffs. I was taken to jail. So down here in Florida, you don't just get a ticket and get fingerprinted. You get thrown into the system. Orange is the new black. I'm in a general population. I made my bond in a day and a half. I was out. Part of the bond when you're released from jail here is when it's domestic violence, you're not allowed to contact the the alleged victim. There is no verbal communication, no written communication, such as a text. So this is right before Thanksgiving over here in the US. This happened just days before. So it's Christmas Day. I'm playing pickleball. First day I feel normal. Then what happens is he shows up to the pickleball courts, comes next to me, despite there's all these open courts. Then he leaves and two officers show up 20 minutes later to arrest me. He lied and said that I spoke to him and said some disparaging remarks. All the witnesses said, no, we've been here before him for 2 hours. She did not speak to him. I left. And it was on that afternoon, he then created a fake text to make it look like I broke that no contact order and contacted him on Christmas Day in order to get me arrested. If I broke that bond order, I could be in jail for 1 year and or the trial. So we actually did have court on December 2nd. I would have been in jail for a year. For a year. So then next thing I know, I don't know anything about the text until I go to court. Maybe 2 weeks later, I'm in court on a separate matter with him, and I'm arrested. And I'm taken out, and that's when we find out about the fake text that he made. So that was the worst experience of my life. Second, being arrested for the second time. I knew I did not want to be in jail. I actually thought about killing myself. But through the grace of God, the judge released me. 30 some people in front of me were remanded back to court for breaking either their probation or their bond, just what they were claiming I did. But like I said, through the grace of God, I was allowed out. The next day, I submitted my cell phone records to my attorney, who then sent them into court. My cell phone records showed I never sent my ex a text. They still continued to prosecute me for over 8 months, despite having my cell phone records. They also subpoenaed my ex's cell phone records, which showed that he never received a text. At no time did the police or the state prosecutor verify the metadata. So in the fake text that was sent by my ex, he used the fake text generator program. He actually made it an SMS. We both have iPhones, so he screwed up in that way. Made it an SMS, which means it is verifiable between both of our cell phone companies. Had it been an iMessage to an iMessage, it may not have been captured on Apple's server. So yeah, so even though he had horrible plans against me, he tripped up that way. So it was able to be verified. No text sent, no text received. Yet they continued for over, like I said, 8 months having evidence, and they continued to prosecute me. They dropped the charges in September, but yet I've already lost my nursing license. I have, over $30,000 in legal fees, lost wages, like over $100,000 I lost because someone fabricated evidence, and it's so easy to verify. Like in your phone, you could just go right into your messages and say, hey, let me see that message in your phone. It wouldn't be there because it's not a real message. It showed up either as a JPEG or a PDF from the fake text generator program. So I lost all of that, my reputation as well, because someone did something evil, and the people that are there to protect us, the police and the state's attorney, he didn't verify it. And then later we find out, so my ex, I didn't know when I first got with him, is a convicted felon, but the police knew that, and the state prosecutor, and they allowed him to weaponize the system against me. So in December, I went to court on the original charges, and that was the fake domestic violence with the scratches. And I was found not guilty, rightfully so, because I did not touch that man. All the marks were made under his shirt. They're all symmetrical, no defensive marks. He was inconsistent with the date that he reported it. He was inconsistent in his deposition. He was inconsistent with his testimony at court. And that's what happens when you lie. You forget what you say to whom at various times. But again, the charges were dropped for the breaking the no contact order with the fake AI generated evidence. And then I was found not guilty, but now my life is dedicated to getting laws in place. I want to start where I live down here in Florida in the US. And then I want to go nationally throughout the United States. And actually, you think about it globally, this needs to be on everyone's monitor. Any person in this world, whether it's a deep fake video, a text, anything else, AI generated evidence, we need to really look into safeguards and have that present to ensure, people's lives. And then those bad characters that are using that, they need to be punished. So
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your story. So I want to get back to when you were so you weren't contacting him and you were playing when you were playing pickleball and he
Yes.
shows up. And were you expecting him to do something like this to use like a deepfake text to sort of um, try to get you convicted again? How far
No,
did
I
you think
wasn't.
he would go? Yeah.
I never thought he would. I couldn't believe he lied to the police about the domestic violence. I just never expected that to him from him. No, I was flabbergasted. I was shocked. Um, but now
Why
looking
do you
back,
think? Yeah.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Why do you think he did that? That it's such like erratic, vengeful behavior.
So, um, he was sending me text messages from all these spoof phone numbers. I didn't know these people, claiming to be an attorney, trying to get money, saying I owed him money, or he was going to go after me. Then he was acting, I think one text said, "My name is Brian, you don't know me. Eric is claiming you owe him money. Send him the money and he'll leave you alone." So I think it was just a matter of money. When I met Eric, he was like a dirty John. He didn't have any money. I didn't know it. He lied about his background, his work history, everything. And now, as this started to come out, I was finding out from past girlfriends who he really is. So at the time, I didn't think it was his character. Looking back now, it's self preservation. It's something that a person like him would do. Yeah, it's just revenge. He's evil. Yeah.
Yeah, and is he particularly like tech savvy? If this, how do you think he
Yes.
generated this AI generated evidence?
Yeah, so he definitely is tech savvy. So a prior girlfriend that I contacted told me he had lied to her, and to cover that lie, he actually created a fake medical record. So he knows how to go in, and whether he's using Adobe to do it or using another product, yes. And then I heard he used fake text messages with her as well. So he has he has his finger on the pulse of deception. Yeah, he's tech savvy.
So now you're advocating for legal reform, as you had mentioned.
Yes.
Can you describe your advocacy efforts?
Okay, so I think the first effort, I was doing TikTok videos and I was just trying to get my story out. My attorney told me, he's like, "I can't believe this is happening to you." That I guess that was in August when the state's attorney's office initially said they're not dropping the charges after they had my cell phone records, his cell phone records. So I tried to do a grassroots effort and get the word out. I had stayed silent about what happened to me for months, and then I just started speaking. On September 15th, I spoke in front of Senator Kathleen Pasadoma down here in Florida and the other delegates from Naples, Florida, about what I was proposing as Melissa's Law, about the verifying AI, and then laws in place just to make sure what happened to me doesn't happen to anyone else. After then, I've had some newspaper articles written about me, and then I would send out emails to legislation down here, just others trying to get some momentum. Eventually, I did find a producer for ABC News up in Philadelphia, where I'm originally from, and they did a story on me 2 days after everything happened just to get the word out. So that's what I'm trying to do, is whether it's the podcast, the written news, on air news, speaking to politicians. I'm sending emails, just trying to get it known. Because if it happened to me, it could happen to anyone, your mother, your sister, your daughter. Yeah, it's pretty sad.
Yeah, and can you kind of describe Melissa's law in more detail?
Yes, so let me just look. Let me see where I have it. Melissa's Law. So basically, in a nutshell, it's like a mandatory metadata review. So before an arrest for a violation, they have to really verify the digital fingerprint, if you will, the IP address, the header, or any information regarding that evidence. And then the prosecution needs to be accountable too. He must certify that that digital evidence has been authenticated before they issue the arrest warrant. So in my case, they didn't do that. The prosecutor went judge shopping for a friendly judge who didn't have all the information and signed off, and I lost everything because of that. And then the last step in Melissa's Law would be criminal penalties for digital fabrication. So having specific heightened penalties for individuals who use AI manipulation for false arrest, because you know, stuff happens. You could run a late light and, get arrested for a traffic violation or whatever. But when you intentionally want to frame someone and put them in jail, that there should be enhancements added to that. I mean, that means no one's safe. Just you could have someone have a grudge against you and you could lose everything because of that. And I believe that's what happened with my ex, that he didn't want his past record to come out of who he was. He was trying to extort me. I was not paying him off, and he just exploded and did this to me.
Yeah, and so as I understand, so it's specifically for targeting AI generated and deepfaked evidence to ensure that, yeah, that
Correct.
all
In a
evidence is,
criminal
yeah.
case, like I understand that there's a lot of stuff going on with teenagers where unfortunately they're doing young girls' faces on bodies. And my understanding, there's some laws in place in the US with that in different states, and it may actually be national. This one would be specifically for AI created evidence in criminal cases like mine.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, so there are like before the deepfakes became accessible and deepfake technology enabled people to fabricate evidence so easily. There was still people could still sort of manually edit and Photoshop things.
Yes.
I wonder whether like what are your thoughts on are there any laws right now that sort of penalize people who do that already?
Yes, I think when I started doing some research, at least in the US, there were some states and they had it surrounding celebrities or political leaders, but there really isn't. We're at the forefront. So, technology, we're living in the future with antiquated laws. So, there's not a lot out there. They're very limited in scope and limited with the states that have it. So, this is definitely the forefront of getting some initiative in this area.
Yeah, and it sounds really important. Just to wrap up, so what happened to your ex? Is he gonna be punished?
That is the question. I think people need to contact the Collier County State's attorneys and ask them. I went down after the trial about a week later, and I had sent them that night a letter saying, "What's going on? Are you going to arrest him?" I sent it to the sheriff's office and the state's attorney's office. They've ignored me. I even sent maybe two or three letters prior to that after they dropped the fake text charge. So I decided to go in person, and they blew me off. They told me the police need to investigate it. So I had to go home and call 911 and have the police come over. They told me, no, it's the state's attorney. They direct who gets arrested and who gets prosecuted. Right now, that known convicted felon who weaponized the system against me is walking completely free in the same area we both live, and he is not being held accountable. No one is doing anything about it. So it's just ridiculous that he is getting away with that. I have the ability to sue him civilly in court for malicious prosecution, but the man has nothing. So it's not even worth my time and energy. So I've decided to focus everything on getting laws passed so what happened to me does not happen to anyone else. And I'm trusting that with maybe enough exposure and people pushing back and saying, why is this man still out in the street? Why has he not even a slap on the wrist? It's sort of like they're just walking away from it and letting him get away. I don't know.
Yeah, and for listeners who want to support your work, what's the most helpful thing that they can do?
I think just get the word out, share these videos, let their congressmen, senators, let everyone know what's going on so we can enact change, not just here in Florida, but in their state as well. We need to speak up. It's something that is happening. We've all seen some funny videos, those deep fake videos. They'll paste, a celebrity or politician's face on there. But here's the thing. It's so easy and it's been shown people would rather believe the lie than the truth. And, so that's what's scary. There's not many critical thinkers out there. They're just so sensationalized. They just jump on these. We need laws in place to protect. It's happening to everyday people. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not a politician. I'm just your average woman, so.
Yeah, and thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm glad that that something good has come out of your horrendous experience.
Thank you.
Yeah, and
I
it's very
appreciate the
inspiring.
opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Deepfake Dialogues. If you found this conversation insightful, please follow and leave us a review. It really helps get the word out. See you in the next episode.